Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Shekhar Iyer. I have with me Shekhar Iyer I SC, and we are going to be talking about a lot of things in and around India. So here we go. Let's welcome Shekhar Iyer I SC. Shekhar ji, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. How are you, sir?
Namaskar, Shri Ayerji. Greetings to all your viewers. Thank you.
Ji, let's start with the first topic that we had in mind. Go ahead.
Now, the Supreme Court has asked the director of the enforcement to complete his term by July 31st. That is 3 months ahead of his. He was to do it till November end. So he has been asked to, because his extension has been held as not in accordance with the Supreme Court directives. In all, if he had been allowed to continue, he would have done 5 years from the date of his appointment. And the extension being given to Sanjeev Mishra, the enforcement director, was challenged by Trinamool Congress leader Mahua Maitra and Jaya Thakur of the Congress. And essentially saying that ED, CBI are all tools of the government and they are out to, wreak vengeance and vendetta on the opposition, and all the numerous corruption cases are being done with the sole purpose. Basically, the idea was to derail the probe. The Supreme Court took the view that the extension per se was not in accordance as far as Sanjay Mishra was concerned, because they had already directed last time that he should not be further extended. But they have upheld the amendments which were made to the Central Vigilance Act as well as the Delhi Police Special Establishment Act, that CBI director or enforcement director can get up to serve 5 extensions. 5 years in service, with 3 extensions after the first appointment for 2 years. And the amendments were upheld, much to the disappointment of the opposition, because the Supreme Court felt this was by an act of parliament, and the extension itself is to be done through a system of consultation involving a committee consisting of the Prime Minister, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and the leader of the opposition. The same thing which is done for the selection of the CBI chief. So the Supreme Court did not find any fault with the amendment or as being violative of the Constitution. Now, I think all our leaders who are currently facing the inquiry, they were looking at this case very, very closely in the hope that Supreme Court would strike down on those amendments also, so that the government's hands could be tied before the Lok Sabha elections. As well as the removal of Sanjay Mishra would have been a kind of a personal triumph, because he was the one who has been heading up a team of investigators who have been working day and night, rather literally burning the midnight oil to get the cases moving, whether it is Senthil Balaji or whether it is land scam or whether it is Delhi excise scam. So this is some kind of a thing where, of course, now this puts the government in a kind of I would say a lot of stress, because they have to find a director before July 31st, before the Sanjay Mishra has to lay down his office. But there are good indications that, because Sanjay Mishra has already created a team under his leadership. So already there are team of investigators, there are others who have been involved in probing these cases. So that should not be a difficulty in the transition. But the very fact that the amendments have been upheld, that's a triumph. So that's why you saw yesterday Union Home Minister Amit Shah quickly reacting to say that let not the opposition celebrate this as some kind of stoppage of government's probe into the corruption. Look, the amendments have been upheld, and no individual is behind any these government's drive. Rather, it is the policy of the government to pursue the investigations. So that's what we saw yesterday's development. It's a very, very important development. This what I would consider, as they say in Tamil, that is vayathala puli karakku. This is, it's like the stomach will have butterflies, or literally Tamil translation is the churning of the tamarind water in your stomach, because this is not going to give them any kind of relief. Sherji.
Sir, it also means you're about to get diarrhea, but that's getting a little too graphic. But sir, most important thing is that when he demits office on the 31st of July, how many years would he have served?
5 years as ED director. I mean, on 31st, he would be few months short of that 5 years.
Okay, okay,
Because
okay.
they had given him extension up to November 30th. Because Supreme Court wanted to uphold, its previous directives that, do not give him any more extension. But they gave him one more and took it up to November with a mandate that let him complete, as many cases. I mean, let him take those cases to the final stage as much as possible. So, that's why in terms of, because Sanjay Mishra is considered a very efficient officer who has managed to get several cases off the table onto the courtroom. That's in India. It's quite very difficult when it comes to prosecution. Cases are registered fast, and there is a demand for CBI inquiry. At the drop of a coin. But here you can see that with so many cases, and some of these are very high-profile cases, which have had tectonic impact, I must say, on course of politics in some states. So that's why this case is very important, and we need to tell our viewers how this case is important and how it will have a bearing on several of those sensitive cases involving high speed, high scale sleaze and corruption in high places.
Thank you, sir. And now, on the 1st of August, Modi is going to be going to Punyanagari, also called as Shekhar Iyer's hometown, to receive an award. And sharing him on the space on the dais with him would be Sharad Pawar and I think 𝙒𝙗𝙬𝙁 also. What do you think is going to happen, sir? Are they going to have a Chinese wall in between the two, or how is it going to be?
No, in fact, whether it is coincidence or whether it's all planned, I do not know. But the fact that after all these upheaval in rather earthquake in the Nationalist Congress Party (NCP), and with Sharad Pawar, back on a dharma against his nephew Ajit Pawar, who has virtually cleaned out the party, taken away with him a good number of MLAs and good number of workers. So this is where the dharma is on, and he is already intends to travel to different parts of Maharashtra to show that he is the real NCP, real face of the NCP. And in the meantime, Ajit Pawar has been engaged in at least now 4 rounds of very, very difficult negotiations with Chief Minister Eknath Shinde of the Shiv Sena, and as well as Devendra Fadnavis of the BJP, the Deputy Chief Minister. They are still unable to decide on the portfolios to be allotted to NCP. There is a heavy bargain going on. There are very, very tense moments for the legislators belonging to Shiv Sena, Eknath Shinde faction, as well as to the NCP leaders. Of course, BJP is trying to play the umpire and to see that somehow portfolios are allotted and more legislators are inducted as ministers. Now, at this juncture, when on one hand, you find that the coalition too is going through very, very difficult moments. And here, on the other hand, the organizers of the Lokmanya Tilak Award Committee have decided to invite the Prime Minister for conferring him that award, and they have invited Sharad Pawar also to be there on the stage. So, with all this happening, I do not know. By August 31st, will we see more water flow down the Godavari in Maharashtra? I do not know, but definitely this looks too much of a coincidence because, of course, both Sharad Pawar and the Prime Minister are I must say, are very, very matured leaders who can, even despite with their tense background, they can maintain civility and exchange pleasantries. But the fact that that award ceremony would also involve some speech making, one would look forward to see what is the message that the Prime Minister has for Sharad Pawar, whom he has always hailed him publicly. In every public stage, he has called Sharad Pawar. In fact, it was his government that conferred the Padma Award on him. So you can
Sir, it's
understand.
not ordinary Padma, sir. It is Padma Vibhushan, one short
Yes,
of Bharat Ratna.
yes, yes. And fact that Sharad Pawar has been uh, he has no, I mean, not since the split of NCP, he has not said anything positive about the Prime Minister. But on previous occasion, we have seen Sharad Pawar supporting Prime Minister on certain policies, depending on the exigencies that he may be, political exigencies he may be facing. So we are going to witness a very interesting turn, but it is worrisome that it is taking a long time for the new combination that has come. The addition of Ajit Pawar to the coalition Maharashtra, because there have been nearly 4 rounds. Even all these rounds go late into night and sometimes very early morning, and people are wondering whether everything is all right, or the predictions of Uddhav Thackeray and Sanjay Raut are coming true, because Sanjay Raut does not miss a single day to say that ultimately Eknath Shinde will be resign or asked to resign, he will come out. But I don't see that kind of anxiety or tension in Eknath Shinde, because he has been handling it very well. He has been calming his supporters to say, look, this is an arrangement that is intended to ensure that we win maximum number of Lok Sabha seats and also do well in the assembly elections. Though it is too early to say whether the Maharashtra assembly elections will be held along with the Lok Sabha elections. But definitely, it looks like the BJP is aiming at something like winning at least 42 to 45 of the 48 Lok Sabha seats from Maharashtra.
Viewers, please like this video, and I'll tell you one good reason, or maybe two good reasons why you should like this video. We have been computed to be the most influential in bringing information about California's SB 403 caste discrimination bill. HinduMedia.ai had run a data dump. They basically go and analyze the data lying on the web, and they found that the single biggest influencer in that was PGurus. So we are tapping ourselves on the back, and also kudos to all our team members. Many of them are not here. They are hard at work, but our editor is there. He deserves as much credit as I do. Now, the other interesting thing that happened, Shekharji, you're going to laugh if I tell you this. I'm going to put up a slide deck here. Just give me one moment. I'm going to put up this slide deck. Thank you. Viewers, can you turn off the overlay, please? Viewers, many of you may recognize this individual. Her name is Sunita Vishwanath. She is the face of Hindus for Human Rights. Don't get taken in by the name Hindus. It is actually run by IAMC, the Muslim alphabet soup cabal, and they are whining today. They put out a press statement saying that a certain 𝙒𝙖𝙪 Chakraborty, whom you all know very well, he is from Hindu Action, has been covering videos of their events. I think these people are whining because they have been caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Maybe Satyanarayan Gangaram Hua to Hua Pitroda perhaps did not expect that everything, maybe he outsourced the crowd sourcing for Rahul Gandhi's trips to some entity, which entity pocketed the money and said, wait, we'll just go and tell all these anti-India groups. They'll come on their own and make up the numbers. I don't know. I'm just making this up because there is no reason for them to squeal like this. Publicity is good. If Utsav gives your videos and puts it out, what is wrong in that? I mean, I would take free publicity, good or bad, that's okay. Your name is out there. I don't know why they put out this press release, but they did. Now, the other interesting thing is the whole thing involves not only that Sunita Vishwanath character, but the Ubaid character, who is the IAMC chair. These are the ringmasters who are essentially using the Jamaat, and then there is the network. The network consists of loudmouths such as Sunita Vishwanath, another one called Peter Friedrich. By the way, Peter Friedrich was in your face, in Utsav's face. I don't know if you saw that video. Sachinji, if you can pull up that video, I don't know if it is available easy. There is a video where Peter Friedrich is having a, Shekharji, the guy has a loudspeaker and he's talking to Utsav, who's like 1 feet away, using the megaphone.
Oh.
And he says, here is a VHP America guy, this, that, totally venting spleen. So somewhere along the line, I think these people have to make some noise. Otherwise, maybe their mullah doesn't come. I have no idea. But it seemed very strange when they say that, 𝙒𝙖𝙩 was taking videos. I mean, you are taking videos too. Peter Friedrich was putting these videos. He put out a tweet. Sachin, if you look at Peter Friedrich's timeline, you'll find the tweet in his timeline, and we can put it up to show our people what kind of hounding he did of 𝙒𝙗 Chakrabarti. At one point, 𝙒𝙗 had said, "Don't spit in my face." It was that close. Anyway, so we're going to get to that point. I'm going to go back to Shekharji to talk about the India topic. The reason I brought this in the middle is because we have two issues we talked about. Mine is in the middle. We'll be having two more issues back to India. But I find it strange that now some of these people are really finding it hard. Maybe their funding sources are getting cut off. They are saying you're not making enough noise. I have no clue what it is, but this is a very strange press statement. So here we go. Let's get back to our main business. Shekharji, is the TMC Panchayat election victory a Pyrrhic victory? That is a victory that was achieved at great cost.
Definitely, sir. It's a cost. I think it's a cost in terms of human lives, human suffering, and untold atrocities on poor voters and candidates. And the unfortunate part was, even yesterday, when the results were being counted, you saw violence taking place inside the counting centers. You had a Trinamool Congress candidate chewing up the ballot papers when he found they had been stabbed in favor of the Congress candidate, then claiming victory. And there was another telling episode.
Sir, I think we have a video for that. Can you show the video, please? This is a gunda, a TMC gunda. Yes. See that? How he's stamping away?
এইভাবে ছাপ্পা ভোট দিও না। তুমি এতদিন ধরে বলছো যে বৌদি আমি তোমার পাশে আছি, বৌদি আমি তোমার পাশে আছি বলেই যাচ্ছে, এটা তুমি কি করছো? হ্যালো,
he has stolen the ballots and he has just stamped away and he's put them in the ballot box. What kind of victory is this, Shekharji?
And Shekhar-ji, yesterday, at one counting center, at the counting level, this is what you have shown is at the voting. There were several instances like this. Some ballot boxes when they discovered probably the anti-TMC vote. I mean, this involves not just the BJP, even votes cast in favor of Congress, Communists, as well as Indian Secular Front, which is led by a Muslim cleric who is opposed to Mamata. In those places there has been large violence, and one candidate just chewed up some ballot papers, a Trinamool candidate, because he found those ballot papers were in support of the Congress candidate. And then, sir, what happens? The returning officer asks police to arrest the BJP candidate and declares the Trinamool Congress, and saying that they created nuisance, so that he is not in a position to complain. And another instance, sir, this is the most, I would say, telling picture of what polls have happened. A Trinamool Congress candidate, a lady who was declared elected, came out of the counting center with certificate in her hand, but tears rolling down her eyes, accompanied by her husband. So the husband asked her, "Tumi cho jitecho, keno kansho? You have won the election. Why are you crying?" She said, "Erakom ami jitne chai na. I don't want to win like this," because she felt so shamed that her victory was because they had rigged the whole election. Her conscience was pricking her. She said, "I don't want this kind of election." Then her husband had to tell her, no, don't make a scene. But she was immediately bundled away by the Trinamool people, who probably would have thrashed her also for making a public spectacle of the rigging. And play completely looking askance at all this. Mamata has a gall to claim that this shows Trinamool is in the heart of the people of West Bengal. Very sad, sir. Very sad that any case Trinamool was bound to sweep the elections. In fact, her party has won almost more than 80% of the seats. BJP has performed well, but it's a very poor distant second. But what has worried her, I think, which is what is it, Trinamool is on a decline in some pockets where the majority of the voters are Muslims who are looking at Congress as well as the left as an alternative, and also Indian Secular Front. So you saw a lot of violence in the districts like Murshidabad, in districts like Malda, which have Malda has almost 30% Muslim voters. So her
Sir,
worry is somewhere.
sir, it
Her
is
worry
close
is
to
somewhere.
45 now. It's close to 45 now. Sir, finish your thought. I have some information. Go ahead, sir.
So her worry is that these Muslim voters who make up for 30% of all over West Bengal could be looking at alternatives. And when the elections are held under the supervision of Election Commission of India, which completely ensures the central forces are deployed to the fullest extent, then probably more and more people are going to vote against her party. This is something that keeps on worrying her. And this election has seen Kolkata High Court orders being violated. Even the State Election Commissioner challenging the Kolkata High Court order in the Supreme Court. And despite Supreme Court endorsing the Kolkata High Court order to deploy central forces, they are not deployed. And the heads of the paramilitary units which were on standby in Bengal were told their services were not utilized. This is a kind of victory, and I do not know how when in Bangalore, when Mamata sits by the side of Sonia Gandhi, because I am told this time Sonia Gandhi may be attending the meeting of the opposition leaders in Bengaluru, which is this time the unity move is under the total auspices of the Congress party. How is going to Sonia look at her and Mamata Banerjee, who has completely created problems and rigged the elections, in which Congress is the victim, along with BJP and other parties? And how is going to Rahul Gandhi face Mamata, or how will Mamata face? This is the reality of unity of the opposition, where the Trinamool Congress is unsparing, even of the so-called anti-BJP forces like the Congress. So you can see what a farce we saw in Patna, and you can see a greater farce in Bengaluru, because D.K. Shivakumar has been saying they have invited Sonia Gandhi, and she may be coming, because to lend more credence to the unity moves, because the last time after they met in Patna, the bombshell fell on NCP, and there is already a problem churning in the host, Nitish Kumar. His Janata Dal United has been facing a lot of upheaval since then, and Nitish Kumar himself has been losing his cool, sir, at a meeting of Mahagathbandhan of his MLAs in Patna 2 days ago. He accused a RJD MLC, member of the Legislative Council, of hobnobbing with Amit Shah, because he had put some pictures of his meetings with Amit Shah on the Twitter, in the social media, saying, why are you dealing with BJP? At that MLC, who is seen close to Tejasvi Yadav as well as Lalu Prasad Yadav, challenged Nitish Kumar, saying, who is getting close to BJP? Who is attempting a somersault? And then Tejasvi had to intervene and said, to calm him down.
Man ki baatein mat bolo. Man ki baatein mat bolo.
No, but Nitish Kumar is losing his cool too frequently, which goes to show that whether JDU is the next in line after what has happened to NCP. So this is the kind of scene we are seeing, sir. But this should make all of us sit up and see that what is happening in Bengal, and where and interestingly, the ecosystem which the headed by Congress itself, bearing the the leader of the opposition in Lok Sabha, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, who belongs to Bengal, who has been in the forefront of not mincing words about what Mamata has done in Bengal. He hasn't got support. We didn't see a tweet from Rahul. We didn't see any statement from Priyanka. Why are they swallowing this? Is it because they are hoping that they may need Mamata's help in the government formation, in their greater hope of ultimately able to displace BJP from power in Delhi? But whatever it is, and even the left parties are muted, sir. Even the left parties are not willing to openly condemn this. In fact, the left parties are saying, they were not in favor of court intervention. I mean, the central left leaders, though their cadres are facing the brunt in Bengal. Now, this is the state of democracy. In fact, if democracy is really in danger in any part of the country, it is in Bengal. I mean, and the irony of it all is Mamata herself had played victim during the more than 30 years of left rule. And she used to, bring people from Bengal to Delhi, hold a sort of an exhibition, whose arms were cut, or whose fingers were chopped because they voted for parties other than the left front. I mean, this is the kind of scene, one does wonder, why is Mamata still important for the opposition, and what do they hope to get from Mamata? I mean, if this is what she does to their own cadre, forget BJP. BJP may be a common enemy, but what about these other leaders? Indeed, Shri Ayerji, I think this kind of, even central leaders of these parties, uncaring of what is happening to their cadre in Bengal, it's a very sad story. I mean, but this is not going to end here, sir, because the governor this time, Anand Bose, he met the Home Minister, completely briefed him on the violence, and he even mentioned after meeting that there will be light at the end of the tunnel. And this governor has a penchant to talk in terms of, Rabindranath Tagore's poems, and he talks about, more Shakespearean quotes, but the meaning is, like light at the end of the tunnel. People are wondering which is the tunnel, where is the light, and who is going to see that light. I mean, he has been talking in riddles, I must say.
Couple of things, sir. Didn't the governor allow the same election commissioner, state election commissioner, to be appointed, even though he was considered to be questionable, or his loyalty was supposed to be towards Mamata Banerjee? And he could have stepped in and said, no, we get somebody from deputation from the center and we put him first. Number two is the CRPF forces, 60, 70,000 or whatever number it was, they were camped in Kolkata waiting for where to go. And the where to go comes 24 hours before the elections. And it's too difficult to take the train and go to the place, like remote places of West Bengal. So they didn't go. So this was very planned. That delay was very planned. And if they're going to give it only on the 7th, the sensitive booths, the 4,800 odd sensitive booths, they could have pushed out the elections by a couple of days. So if you can't do that, then they should have worked backwards and made sure that people would get to the places to man the election. So why did the governor do allow that, sir? Why did he allow that? He could have put in...
Sir, I will share little more details on what the governor did. When incidentally, West Bengal has that rule where the governor chooses the state election commissioner. This is not there in other states, where the local elections are conducted by the state election department, and whoever is the secretary of the state election department is appointed by the government. I mean, whichever political leadership is ruling that state. But in Bengal, they have a system where the governor appoints the state election commissioner. And in this case, Mamata sent only one name to the governor first. That was the name of this Rajiv Sinha, and who incidentally is an IPS officer belonging from Bihar, though belonging to the Bengal cadre. Now, only when one name went, governor objected, saying that I am not going to pick one person if you have just sent one name. Why don't you send me a list of names? Then Mamata sent two more names. Despite, governor having three names before him, he ended up choosing Rajiv Sinha, the first name which Mamata had sent. So which 𝙒𝙬𝙤 Adhikari, the leader of the opposition, BJP in West Bengal Assembly, he said this whole thing, governor has made blunder by appointing the very person whom Mamata wanted. And from day one, he has been siding with the state government, even as I mentioned, extent of challenging Kolkata High Court order and deployment of central forces. He filed a separate petition in the in Supreme Court, along with state government, which had originally filed. I mean, this is the state of affairs with, when they say hand in glove, I think this is the literal hand in glove that you saw in Bengal.
Sir, Shekharji, you mentioned about light at the end of tunnel. I remember Professor RV mentioning in a speech that only in India you will find a tunnel at the end of every light.
That's a good one. That's a very good one.
So now let us take a look at the...
Sir, if the light at the end of the tunnel is an approaching train, in most cases it is, and then you can imagine what the consequences are.
So now let's take a quick look at the possible merger between the YSRTP, Yuva Shrama Raitu Telangana party of Sharmila Reddy, and Congress in Telangana. So this is a very interesting thing, sir. She is married to a Brahmin. I don't know if you know that.
And he's a preacher. He's a
now he
preacher.
converted himself to Christianity. And when I had gone to, I think it was 2004 or something like that, 2004 or 2005, he had YSR had just come to power as CM. All you found was 100 feet long cutouts of how Anil Kumar can save you. At very prominent places in Hyderabad and Secunderabad. It was very in your face, and it was really irritating to see that stuff. I'm talking about 17 years ago, and if anything, that has only gathered more momentum. And I don't know why Congress is even thinking about it. She has no base. Literally, she has never contested in elections. She just has the name, and I don't know if that will really give her anything. So I am really doubtful if it's even going to come through. Congress is pretty shrewd about doing all these things. They won't take somebody unless they know that. See, Reddy doesn't have a big percentage in Telangana, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, indeed. Even I was surprised when I heard about what's happening between Sharmila and the Congress. Sharmila has had problems with her brother, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Jagan Mohan Reddy. And I think her mother kind of effected a patch-up formula in which she agreed to, do her politics in Telangana, neighboring Telangana, instead of, fighting with her brother in Andhra Pradesh. But in Telangana, she managed to gain some eyeballs because the manner of her protest against KCR and then getting arrested, holding dharna, challenging police restrictions at different places. She was doing all that. I mean, she has been trying to get the traction. And we thought, the brother and sister have divided their area of operation and there won't be a conflict. But since then, what we have seen is in Telangana, she has tried to, get that kind of media publicity. But in terms of ground, she doesn't appear to have made any great inroads. So therefore, the Congress has been telling her, look, why don't you go to Andhra Pradesh? And we can help you with resources and all that. And then you can, go to the Andhra Pradesh and take on your brother. Because Congress is completely finished in Andhra Pradesh. The percentage there, the voting percentages have been coming down drastically. And in Telangana, they don't want another anti-KCR front because already they have to compete with BJP. They felt, the anti-KCR votes would get further divided and KCR would, benefit. But what has happened is, what we are seeing is, all this got to do with the other day, the Rahul Gandhi had tweeted in support of Rajshekhar Reddy and their father, and Sharmila immediately responded fondly saying that my father was also, was hoping one day you would lead the party and the country, meaning Rahul Gandhi. One dynastic, beneficiary is trying to glorify another dynastic beneficiary. One is untested and another has almost failed and trying to resurrect himself. Now, given this scenario, what we are being told is that she is being increasingly tempted one day to merge. Of course, Telangana Congress leaders and even Andhra Congress leaders are totally opposed to this merger business because they have already seen what happened when they went in alliance with TDP, the last elections, and how they were both got badly beaten up, both Chandrababu Naidu as well as the Congress. And of course, on the BJP side, we are seeing that things are settling down with Kishan Reddy playing the umpire between Bandi Sanjay Kumar and Tela Rajender, and that rally in Warangal, which we had discussed last time, was a pointer to the indication from the Prime Minister downwards at the central leadership level, how they wanted everybody to start work unitedly against the KCR government. And I must point out, sir, the last discussion, I did make a blunder by saying that Bandi Sanjay Kumar came from the Congress, and some of your very alert viewers, put up messages, and I must thank them for correcting me. I think it was a slip from my part, and I really apologize for that mistake. So, between Bandi Sanjay Kumar, who is an old RSS hand, a old AVP hand, a youth leader who has risen to this rank, and who is very aggressive, and you have Etila Rajender, the party hopes to, somehow synergize the potential of these two leaders, and with the Kishan Reddy trying to somehow, ensure that things don't go out of hand and they are focused on the battle against the KCR in Telangana.
Shekharji, I have a couple of observations about Sharmila personally. I think she went to jail as part of that protest or something like that. And I think she assaulted someone, either a government official or a police official.
Police official.
Police official, right? So that is one. But there is another video where she is walking towards a temple and two priests approach her with a Purna Kumbham. A Purna Kumbham is the way you receive a celebrity. She practically, threw them out in the sense that, it's like, you would say chi popo, something like that. It was the worst way to respond to that. That shows that she doesn't even seem to know the basics of how Hindu culture is. And if that is the case, and people will remember these things, sir, I can assure you, come election time, these things will be played up because it's all available on social media now. And the two archakas look so, despondent. They didn't expect this. I mean, they come to give you, you are being honored as the temple's guest, and this is how you treat them. So this shows shocking ignorance on her part. Maybe it was something else that was bugging her. Maybe she doesn't know. I don't know. I mean, if you behave like that, see, one of the most important things about politicians is, and you take a look at Devi Lal, Mulayam Singh Yadav, their memory is supposed to be elephantine. They'll go to a village 5 years later, they'll remember a particular village, some headman, they'll go to that house, oh, Ramlal, kaise ho? What happened to your daughter? What happened to your son? Has he got a job? They know everything about that person. And those people think, oh my goodness, this is such a great leader. He remembers everything about me. Mera vote to isi ko jayega. And then they'll tell everybody else, tum isko hi vote karna. Right? So that patience is needed. I really don't know what kind of a difference, if any, Sharmila will make. Sir, over to you.
Definitely, sir. Whenever you see the public behavior of such personalities, and that if they can behave in such a way in public spaces, you can imagine how they would be in private spaces. And if such leaders come to occupy office, a public office, then it can be quite a troublesome for those who have to deal with her, whether it is bureaucrats or even common folks who would have to go to her with some representation. Of course, as you said, one must give a benefit of doubt. Probably she was under some tension or something. But definitely in terms of politics, the very fact that she is going back to deal with Congress. After all, Congress had humiliated her father, and that is why her son, her brother, led a Padyatra, like his father had done, and completely showed that the Congress without the Rajshekhar Reddy's name and fame, Congress was nothing, and it was proved in both in Telangana as well as in Andhra Pradesh. Now, for her, just because of her spiteful relationship with her brother, she is willing to shake hands with Rahul Gandhi and Congress for the sake of politics. I think this is bound to put off a number of people who would wonder what is this legacy that she is trying to claim by again joining hands with the Congress. Of course, for Congress, anybody is welcome, more so if it is from the Rajshekhar Reddy's family. For them, it is all right. But this is at the central level. But as I said earlier, at the state level, both the states level, they are not very keen to do business with Sharmila.
Sir, the case under which this fellow went to jail, Jagan Reddy, that was Kaveri Basin, right? They basically looted the people's lands in the name of oil exploration for, I think, Reliance Group, if I remember correctly. That has been proven, and that's why he was spending time in jail. That is, his father passed away. This man was put in jail by the Congress regime. And then they let him out. And I don't know what the deal was there, why they let him out. Then he goes for what is called as Odarpu Yatra, which is consolation tour.
Like his father had done.
Right. And there, then he reconnected, and I mean, he's now, of course, the chief minister. So he could go back to jail. BJP could easily reopen that case. That case is not solved yet, right? So why she could have easily just waited her time, let him go to jail, and then she could have come in and said, okay, now I shall carry forward the vision of my father. See, I'm even giving her a punchline.
Sir, but when siblings are involved in this kind of rivalry, they do not think of, I mean, there is no planning as such. Whatever happens in that moment. Of course, mother has tried to play the umpire and try to, cool her down. But then we can see that if she is willing to deal with the Congress, it means that she wants to take on her brother in a either to more stronger way, which is not good news for Jagan, definitely. But then the scenario is such in Telangana as well as in Andhra Pradesh. Of course, Jagan, as I said earlier, he has won. He won all the by-elections, and he has been quite on the higher side. But I hear a lot of anti-incumbents issues involving Jagan's MLAs as well as ministers, and there is a lot of trouble brewing within the party also. Some of the senior leaders are not very happy with Jagan's style of functioning. And here, he has always been waving the white flag at the Prime Minister and the BJP, and because his worry is that the TDP will be allowed into NDA, and he would be forced to deal with a much formidable opposition.
Yes, indeed. And Shekharji, with your permission, let's take a few questions now.
Yes, please.
Mr. Bharani wants to know, election in DIDI's WB is ridiculous. Shouldn't Modi government at least suspend the State Election Commission and police and deploy central forces permanently as alternate to 356?
Well, Bharani sir, the scheme of things is such, the center cannot directly deploy forces, and particularly in a state where the local administration is not going to cooperate, because whenever the paramilitary forces are deployed, the terminology used is to aid and assist the local administration in maintaining law and order. Definitely, Mamata, who is willing to, in fact, when the Kolkata High Court was suggesting why don't you deploy central forces, she got in touch with Congress ruled states. Other opposition rules say whether they can spare police forces. I mean, other states, so that they can deploy whether their forces would be available. So the center could not have done anything. But I am told when the governor discussed the issue with the Home Minister, several things were looked at. Whether is there a way where center can impose punitive measures on Bengal by denying some funds from rural development for these panchayat bodies, saying that these elections were highly rigged and they are not at all representative of the grassroots democracy. But that's open to a legal challenge and a legal situation, whether funds can be withheld like that. Because that was one thing was talked. The other thing was suggested was as a stronger measure, whether any directive could be issued under Article 355, saying which makes it state government mandatory to follow. Sir, we have seen previously when center stopped funds for some of the schemes, for its own central schemes being implemented by Mamata. And that is the time when Mamata came rushing to Delhi and met Prime Minister Modi. When Modi handed her a list of irregularities happening in the implementation of central scheme, Mamata agreed to take action because it was made clear to her that if these irregularities continue, center is not going to send funds. Then she called a meeting of all the district magistrates and said, please follow all the directives from the center in the implementation of its schemes, because some of the schemes already been, the nomenclature had been changed to make it out as if it's Mamata's schemes. I mean, even center was willing to forgive her on the change of nomenclature, but not in violation of the guidelines, violation of criteria needed for implementing those schemes. Then finally she told the district magistrate that you must stick to those stipulations. Then some funds followed. But whenever elections happen, she is back to her old Swarupam, sir, which is smash and grab, when already it is available to her. I mean, today in West Bengal, her politics is dominating. But at the same time, she doesn't care a hoot for what is the public perception, and her differences with her nephew, Abhishek Banerjee, is talk of the town, and I am told Abhishek Banerjee is calling the shots, and she is increasingly finding the space in which she is operating getting constrained because of the domineering attitude of Abhishek Banerjee. That's another story waiting to happen, sir. Whether before because already you saw in the Rajya Sabha nominations, there is a greater say of Abhishek Banerjee by getting people who are known as great trolls like Saket Gokhale. He's basically a social media person, but he has been given full 6 years as a Rajya Sabha MP, much to the anger of other hopefuls in Trinamool Congress. And he's Abhishek Banerjee choice. Of course, Saket Gokhale drew sympathy of Abhishek because he was arrested by Gujarat police recently for one of his tweets. So you can see that already Abhishek Banerjee is, completely all over Mamata's thing, and Mamata is getting more and more lesser say in the way things are happening. And people are wondering, what is the sway of Abhishek Banerjee on Mamata? People are asking. And there is one Trinamool leader, sir. Her name is Sonali Guo. She was a former deputy speaker of West Bengal Assembly, who has been posting Facebooks, making all kinds of things about the nature of relationship between Abhishek Banerjee and Mamata, because Abhishek is supposed to be her nephew. She has been, and she was once very close to Mamata, this Sonali Guo. And Sonali Guo has been saying all kinds of things, questioning even, whether he is really a nephew of Mamata or the relationship is something else. And incidentally, neither Mamata nor Abhishek Banerjee has taken action against Sonali Guo, against this former Trinamool leader who is now in BJP, heading some Mahila unit.
Also, there is Mahua Moitra, who has been making noises in the parliament against Mamata.
Yeah, Mahua Moitra, I doubt whether she will again get renomination to contest from her constituency, her Lok Sabha constituency. I doubt very much, because she has carved a separate space for herself, and I think she may return to Congress. That's a greater possibility. Mahua Moitra being a Congress candidate.
Interesting there. Next question, please. Rahul Rathod wants to know, will PM Modi reform judiciary in 2024? They are completely woke now. They don't have time for pending cases of common man, but courts are open for liberals anytime, day or night, even in holidays.
Well, I think the one particular reform which the Modi initiated as soon as he became Prime Minister was to do away with the collegium system. That's why the judicial accountability law was brought in, but that was set aside by Supreme Court. The collegium is an area where the Prime Minister may like to revisit if we party again in 2024. But before that, because definitely the Prime Minister feels that the judiciary, has to become accountable and must follow a system which currently is left to the, the good offices of the Chief Justice of India and other, senior judges, which they constantly, which they say is the best way to handle things relating to judiciary, whether it's a issue of probity, whether it's a question of, cleaner judiciary, it's best left to them. But then India is a unique situation where the judges are appointing themselves. They're saying that this is the only way they can ensure independence of judiciary. So collegium is an area I don't think the Prime Minister has actually given up. He may again revisit that area and see what needs to be done. One way to go about it is probably the government and judiciary would engage in a dialogue and come with some measures which takes into account issues of accountability and also in the system of appointment.
Next question, please. Trey Jones wants to know, what might be the reason for Centre turning a blind eye to West Bengal poll violence? Is there a bigger game afoot?
Well, I can draw a parallel between this and why America is hesitating to directly intervene in Ukraine. Even admission into NATO is delayed for the same reason. Because the fear is that they will get sucked into a bigger conflict and which will go completely out of control. That's why you find regarding NATO admission for Ukraine, the whole thing is hanging in fire because nobody wants to, because once you get Ukraine into NATO, the problem will be that everybody will be in a state of war with Russia, which neither America wants nor the Europe. And similarly, the battle between central government and Mamata is such, the center realizes, because after BJP got I must say not a thrashing, but definitely a disappointing result in the 2021 Bengal Assembly election. Center weighs in everything because, sir, president rule is today is out of question because you cannot impose president's rule like that after the Supreme Court judgments. If you study where even you impose president rule, you have to keep the house in suspended animation. Then only, for 6 months, then you have to get it ratified in parliament. All the janjat is there. Apart from that, also the fact that if you impose president rule, all the lumpuns of Trinamool would be out on the streets, creating mayhem, and center would be blamed for completely putting Bengal on fire. So that is why all these measures, the BJP leadership realizes that center cannot do anything like that directly. Rather, they will have to only allow the BJP to challenge Trinamool on the political field.
This video of Utsav being heckled by Peter Friedrich, who's IAMC.
What are you doing here?
There you go. That's Utsav.
What are you doing here? You're with VHP America? Isn't VHP America the U.S. branch of India's VHP? Isn't VHP an organization in India murdering Christians, Muslims? So why are you here? How do you feel about the slaughter by your Indian branch back with all the militants there that are engaged in the murder, the massacre of Christians, of Muslims? Do you have any comments on that whatsoever? Do you have any comments? How do you feel about Modi's BJP establishing a fascist state in India? Sir, not acceptable. Sir, we want your comments. Does the VHP America support the VHP in India are doing? Sir, do you support the slaughter in Manipur? Sir, do you have any comment on why Modi was banned from the U.S. for almost 10 years? Because of his complicity in the 2002 pogrom against Muslims? Modi was engaged in overseeing the mass slaughter of 1,000, 2,000 Muslims, gang raping women, pregnant women.
Don't spit on me.
Slaughtering little kids.
Don't spit on me.
Slaughtering little kids.
So, see, this guy is very much in your face and he is going after Utsav. So, we are not complaining. Go ahead, freedom of speech. You can say whatever the heck you want, as long as you don't spit. And that's what he was saying. Don't spit on my face. Shekharji, these people are so used to just having one-way traffic. Now the Hindus are standing up and questioning them, and they can't mouth it. And they know they have transgressed the law many places. Now I think those chickens will come home to roost. Next question, please. Abhay Gandhi wants to know how Supreme Court, High Court judges are appointed. Why India being vast democracy is not finding any citizen to work as SC, HC judges. Is it monopoly for restricted families in most of appointments?
Well, the current system is a collegium system where which has been upheld by the Supreme Court after the Judicial Accountability Bill was rendered invalid, saying that it is not part of the constitutional scheme of things. So it is the judiciary which selects, picks judges. Recommendations come. Of course, finally it goes to the government, and before that, government gets those names vetted. But the Supreme Court has made it very clear that they have the final say, and the government has to simply carry out the mechanical process of appointment.
Next question, please. Yogeshwar Tiwari wants to know, Supreme Court will reverse 370. What do you think?
Well, the hearing is just about to start, and we are going to see very interesting points of view being placed before the apex court. And recently, the Chief Justice of India was in Srinagar to attend a conference, and he saw for himself the situation there. So one is one doesn't make any public speculations about which way the Supreme Court would go. Normally, we don't do in India. We would rather see how the hearing goes. But I'm sure the central government will manage to place before the Supreme Court as to the reasons behind this creation of that article and how that article had created problems over more than over more than 4 decades or 5 decades. And you can see that how today, with the removal of the Article 370, which as far as the government of India is concerned, or even successive government is concerned, is irreversible move, and there is no doubt about it. There are some arguments which the center may make, which the Supreme Court may not accept as part of the reasoning for Article 370. But per se, I think the history behind this Article 370 and how it has been used by forces against India to keep the Kashmir pot boiling, all this is definitely bound to be impressed upon the judiciary, and I would expect the government succeed in its efforts.
Next question, please. Kodanganur Achar wants to know, why still Karnataka BJP positions have not been announced? Any strategic reason?
Well, I think they are still attempting to bring, calm down the warring groups and the various factions. As we had discussed last time, the name that is high on the list of probability is Shobha Karandlaje, who is a Vokaliga leader from Puttur, Dakshina Kannada, and she is also close to Yediyurappa, so she will be very acceptable to Yediyurappa. And as far as the leader of the opposition, whether it will be Bommai or it will be any other leader, maybe a Lingayat leader, one has to wait and see, because there is some kind of a resistance to Bommai being made the leader of the opposition, because, sir, I am told that Bommai is seen as having some kind of proximity or good relations with the Chief Minister, Siddaramaiah. So there is a kind of that he is close to them. He is close to Siddaramaiah. That is why Siddaramaiah has always been soft on Bommai. And Bommai, in his tenure as Chief Minister, did not reopen the old case of corruption against Siddaramaiah, which actually helped him to return as CM again. So they say that they are too close for comfort for BJP. So Bommai cannot be the face for the BJP when they have to oppose Siddaramaiah. This is the buzz I hear in the Karnataka BJP.
What about Yetnal, sir?
Yetnal has a good chance as being made the leader of the opposition. He has a very good chance.
Well, we'll wait and see, won't we? Next one, please. AZ wants to know, how much will Bengal results affect the future prospects of BJP? What should be the strategy of BJP in your view?
Well, the BJP has to continue its, the battle on the ground, which they intend to do, and with the leader of the opposition, Shuvendra Adhikari, has been doing it. Only thing, there should be more cohesion within the BJP in Bengal, so that the battle, gets to the next round. One thing about assembly elections and Lok Sabha elections, they will be supervised by the Election Commission of India, not by a state election commissioner appointed, who is appointed by the state government rather, and who is very close to Mamata or anybody. And also deployment of central forces will be regulated by the Election Commission. So the voters will be more forthcoming to cast their vote for whom they think is the right person. So the chances of rigging is not easy, but even in assembly elections, we have seen violence. We saw violence during Lok Sabha elections. And very unfortunately, we have seen apologies for Mamata, in the media and so-called intellectuals. We have seen they try to, make it out as if the political violence is part of the institutional system in Bengal, saying it was happening from the Congress time and Siddhartha Shankar Ray was there. It has happened other time also. There's nothing. It happened during left. Left was known for quote-unquote scientific rigging, with Jyoti Babu standing above all that, but the cadres were out and doing this game and intimidating voters. Then subsequently, when Mamata came, she adopted the same thing, though her ways are not so scientific.
Next question, please. Make this the last question. How beneficial would be BJP's alliance with TDP in Andhra?
Well, I think BJP is playing what I would call, sub-zero game in Andhra Pradesh, because they have not yet, opened their mind as to whether they should admit TDP into the NDA. Now, they have an understanding with Pawan Kalyan, and Pawan Kalyan is open to a good understanding with TDP. That's how the DDP may come. But in the anxiety to expand NDA, there is a good possibility that Chandrababu Naidu may be back in NDA, because he has met Amit Shah and he has been saying that it was a huge blunder on his part to have left NDA and joined hands with Sonia Gandhi. So there is a good possibility he may come back, but that is something that is worrying Jagan also a lot. Or there is a possibility that things will be rather kept in unstated ways, and there could be understanding in constituency wise. I mean, that's possible.
Thank you so much, sir. And that brings us to a close of today's program. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.
Namaskar.